Welcome, you guys. It's Carlos, and alongside me is a two-time Emmy winner, multimedia journalist for sports, 360 AZ, and ASU alumni, Jordan Spurgeon. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Carlos. I'm doing well, man. How you doing?
Good. So you're doing good. How's your day?
Yeah, just been living life today. Just got up and did a lot of work early in the morning and went outside for a little bit. And yeah, can't complain. So far, it's been a good day.
Nice. Before we start, I'd like to congratulate you on getting your bachelor's at ASU.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, it was awesome to get that done, and I had a really good time in college. So it's cool. It's weird to be done, seeing people go back. It's a weird feeling.
You went to Cronkite, right?
Yeah, I went to a community college first, and then I transferred to Cronkite in 2020.
And so what community college did you go to?
Yeah, it's called Palomar Community College out in San
Okay.
Marcos, California. I was born and raised in Murrieta, California, so not too far from there. And yeah, I was there for 5 semesters. Yeah, 5 semesters.
Congrats.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
So at what moment did you realize sports media was for you?
Yeah, I think when I was a young kid, like 7th grade, I started watching ESPN when my uncle came over, and I was like, that'd be fun to do that one day. And throughout high school, I kind of thought about it a little bit here and there. I really wanted to be a professional baseball player or football player, and it never really crossed my mind. And I was kind of shy and wasn't really for me. And then senior year of high school, randomly at a football game, I was no longer playing football, and I just like some guys were painting their chest with our school name on it, so I painted my chest. I got the crowd hyped up and just did all these like fun things. Like, oh, that's cool. And I realized I wasn't
nice.
And took all these leadership classes and stuff, and ended up like being the PA announcer for our basketball games. And I was like,
what?
Yeah,
nice.
I was like, fun. So yeah,
so you played sports then in high school?
Yeah, I didn't really start, other than like PAing basketball games, I didn't start any sports media until freshman year, right away at community college. I didn't
freshman year
anything like that. Yeah.
So what kind of sports do you play in high school?
Yeah, baseball, water polo, football were the 3 that I played at different. So yeah, baseball was my main sport, but a little bit of football, a little bit of water polo for a bit. It was a lot of fun.
I was kind of the same way, because I played football, I was in wrestling, I was in track, but I didn't really like get into this until when I started going to college. My first major was social work. Then I found out I was interested in sports media.
Yeah, I mean, everyone finds it at different times. I know I've seen kids at Cronkite that come in as freshmen, like, yeah, I had this sports network as a freshman in high school and did all these things, and nothing wrong with that. That's great, but everyone finds their passion at different times, and once you find your passion, you go after it.
Right. What core values and beliefs separate you from the next journalist?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's like my values or beliefs. I mean, I guess the belief that everyone has a story to tell, and I feel like it's our job to tell a story. I'll insert some of my personality, or if I'm writing a column, my opinions, but I kind of stay away from that when I can, and I just try to give people a platform to tell their stories. That's kind of the avenue I've gone through. That includes like not doing so many game stories, because I mean, we all have this. If you want to see what happened in a game, you just hop on your phone and
instant information you can see.
Yeah, so I tend to go more towards the story side. So I mean, as far as beliefs, values, I think that's just the biggest thing. It's just telling people stories. I don't really put my personal beliefs into too many of the things that I do. Here and there, it's right. If I'm telling a really heavy story on someone and I relate that to them and be like, yeah, I went through something similar in a conversation, I think that's really powerful. But other than that, I don't really do that too much.
Off and off the field, right?
Yeah. For me, it's, athletes are just like us. I mean, once you're in college and, you'll go out on a Tuesday night and see, oh, hey, there's this football player out tonight on a Tuesday night, and they're not like us, like they're not anything different than us. And so I think when you can relate that to people, and then the players really like you, and then fans get a different perspective on these players as more than just players. And so I think that's like the really cool part of sports media, is when you're able to do that.
Share the connection.
Yeah, we've all got it. And so I think just creating that and sharing it is always really cool.
And so what type of hobbies do you like to do outside of journalism, sports media? I seen a post from your Twitter that you were mentioning the Spider-Man movie. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah. I'm a big Marvel guy, big Star Wars guy. Love the DC TV show. So
it was a great movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an amazing movie. Really love watching those. I spent a lot of time in the gym. I mean, bodybuilding's my side passion. I'll probably step on a stage as a bodybuilder by the end of this year is the goal.
Oh, I see
Um,
you. I see you.
yeah, so we'll see. I mean, I don't want to be a bodybuilder per se, but doing it and just challenging myself, it's fun. I like pushing myself in things. Love going out and hiking. I just bought a bicycle for the first time since I was a kid, and I've been bike riding like every day for like an hour or two because I have a little extra
Nice.
time without school. And so yeah, that's kind of what I do. And I just kind of whatever I feel like doing, I just do it outside of my like work responsibilities.
Keeps your mind on track, focused.
Yeah, keeps me dialed in. I spend a lot of time by myself and I love it. Like that's all my best ideas. My best ideas actually come. I'll drive home to California to see my family sometimes, and that 6 hour drive, I will
Okay.
have like 8 ideas of things I want to do. And I will literally pull over sometimes and like write them down on a piece of paper, be like, don't forget that idea you just had in your head while you were zoning out.
Yeah.
Still into the road, but zoning out a little bit. But that's where I find a lot of my creative stuff is just being in my own head.
Nice. And so do you have any advice for an up-and-coming journalist like myself that's trying to make like a splash in the industry?
Yeah, I'd say it's less about making a splash and it's about trying everything first. So anything you want to do, whether you think you already know what you want, try everything. Be a writer, do podcast, great, radio, TV, behind the scenes stuff. Try everything you can. And from there, you'll start realizing what you really want to do. I was fortunate enough to do a lot of things, and not to come off cocky or anything, but I ended up being pretty good at a lot of things. I'm really good at sports radio.
Right.
And it's fun, but it's not my passion anymore. So I've kind of gone away from that a little bit, but it was something that I had to try and I enjoyed it for a while. And so it made me better as a storyteller. It made me better at talking in general. So just trying those different things and then finding out what you want to do really helps. And then don't be consumed by sports. It's really easy to just like be, you're coming in as a sports fan, going into media. And so you really want to be into every sporting event. You want to tweet or Instagram post every event that you're at or every game you're watching on TV. And the weirdest advice I give people is do a little less of that sometimes. Step away from sports. Have a night where there might be some big college football games on. But you know what? Just go on a date or go bowling or watch a different TV show that you like, something like that. Because sometimes you really need to do that if you want to like keep pushing forward without burning yourself out.
That's interesting because I would think like you would have to consume yourself, but you saying like not to consume yourself and just to take a break makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's a lesson I've had to learn because I've always been one of those it's hard work to get to the top kind of guys. And I've slowly been realizing time's more valuable than that. And so when you can really take advantage of that, you're going to get more quality over quantity anyways, because you're going to feel fresh. Because when you're sitting there, especially like I related to football season,
Right.
if you're going Friday night high school football, Saturday night college, or you're watching college all day, then Sunday NFL, and then Monday NFL, and then Thursday NFL, it's a lot of
Wow.
time. Unless you're
Right.
working as a beat reporter where you're required to do that kind of stuff, you got to pick and choose your spots of when to watch those things, when to cover those things, when to just be a fan, when to just ignore it. And I think that really helps.
And so for 2022, you wanted to start experimenting with college games like Pac-12?
Yeah, I think 2022, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm experimenting with them right now. I'm just focused on telling deeper stories.
Okay.
A lot of features. I'm trying to get into like weekly or bi-weekly feature stories on our TV show on Valley Sports Arizona. Also, I'm working on a few documentaries that could potentially be lining up. So just doing that kind of storytelling. I think that's the space I'm in right now. I co-host a TV show called Bleacher Talk that covers high school football mostly, but we're going to start doing basketball and then baseball and softball, some wrestling too. So really just focused on building those up and then seeing where it goes, but just kind of going out there and seeing people a lot. That's kind of where I'm at.
You post your documentary, I'll be the first one to see it.
Yeah, man, documentaries are fun. I never knew that's what I wanted to try, but worked on one last summer with two of my coworkers, and it was a really rewarding experience putting together a documentary. It was a really heavy subject, but putting it together and getting a story out there like that was something that I thought was really powerful because it impacted a lot of people, I think.
If you want to plug the documentary so people are interested in
the Zach Hoffpower documentary. He was a player here in Arizona at Centennial High School, football, baseball, just absolute stud. Ended up going to Stanford to play both football and baseball, which is a very rare feat, especially at a school like Stanford to be able to play both. But battled all kinds of things. ended up passing away when he was 26 years old. Took a bad pill to help him sleep because he had a really hard time sleeping, and
Wow.
laced with fentanyl. It wasn't a suicide. It was just one of those things that just happened. And obviously, the family very devastated. And when we met them, they had found out he had stage 2 CTE. So that caused
Wow.
a lot of emotional trauma. He had a lot of mental issues and things like that, and that was the cause of it, is because of the CTE from all the concussions and contact sports and stuff. So really getting the story right, because the reason why I like this space is a lot of media, it's about being first and this big
Yeah.
name, get clicks, and so they all just labeled it like right away, like, oh, another athlete that died of a overdose, and that wasn't really the story. So it was rewarding to be able to tell the full story. And it's a really good documentary. YouTube, you can check it out. It's 21 minutes long, Sports 360 AZ. You can check it out there. It's a really good one to watch. I recommend a lot of people watch. Not just because I worked on it, but it is
Right.
something that has
Oh,
an
I'm
impact.
definitely interested in. I want to watch the documentary myself.
Yeah, it's really, really good, I think.
It's interesting to see your perspective because you don't tend to see the likes and the views, and that's what a lot of people they actually focus on. But you focus more on the stories, the deep telling of that. So it's really nice to see your point of view.
Yeah, I mean, eventually that stuff's important when you talk about money and things like that. But, at 360, we don't necessarily care about that. We'd rather tell a story, and I'd rather tell a story where maybe it might only impact the person that we're sharing their story, or that impact could be thousands of people or 10 people. I don't really care. It's just about telling the story and letting it do its thing. I think that's more important than being like, all right, we got to be the first ones to do it. We got to get all
Right.
these clicks. If we don't get this amount of clicks, we don't put this headline, then we wasted our time. And
And I feel like you can get caught up in that.
it's very easy, especially like for me on Friday nights, I can get caught up on that sometimes for Friday Night High School, because I'll like post videos during the game, and I'm like, after the game, I'm like sitting there like it's almost like adrenaline rush, like seeing all the retweets and likes. And if it doesn't do it, I'm like, man, did the school not like me? Did the players not like me? But like
You start thinking, yeah.
But it doesn't really matter. I mean, you're just putting that stuff out there. It's gonna do what it does, and you don't really worry about it. You did your job, you do what you do, and that's just how it goes.
Nice. So for kids dealing with like insecurities and they're being bullied, like what advice would you give to them to help them out?
Yeah, I think I experienced a lot of that in high school. In middle school, I had extremely bad acne, cystic acne, all those things, and all kinds of other insecurities. And so I think what I tell people is just really focus on yourself. I mean, any 90% of your issues that you might feel from outside forces, they're really things that you could be thinking inside. So when you get to the why of like why this makes me feel bad, or why I feel bad, or why I'm down in the dumps about these insecurities, you can really start to figure out like who you are. And then from there, it's just like something clicks eventually over time, and you're like, I don't care what they say. Like, I'm just gonna live my life, and it is what it is.
Right.
People don't like me. It's cool. And that's when you start realizing what you want to do. You start finding your purpose. And, excuse me, start going on and just kind of figuring out life. I mean, we're never going to have all the answers, but that's how you start finding some, at least.
So it's about like having a better state of mind, the way you look at things.
Yeah, just seeing things, the way I go about it, and I've always been this way as a kid. It's weird, but I'm starting to learn like kind of the whys just from reading different books and stuff. I try to read 1 or 2 a month. I'm not one of those that's like, I have to do like this many things, resolutions. I don't really care about that, but I try when I can. But what I learned is that your thoughts create like what your life is going to be, like your reality. And so when you let negative thoughts start to tumble and snowball effect, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. Well, guess what? You're never going to have enough money.
100%. I totally agree with that.
And so we're all going to have those thoughts. I have those thoughts every day. But once you gain an awareness of that, you can say, okay, stop. Start putting out more positive thoughts and start burying those negative thoughts, and your life's going to start kind of changing. So it's about recognizing that. And it's hard. I mean, there's days where I sit here, I might just sit here just like really down in the dumps, and it takes me a while to get out, but you just eventually you find a way to get your way out.
Wow. How was your experience attending the Walter Cronkite High School?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, obviously I transferred January 2020. So COVID kind of shut down the world my second or third month there, and I just turned 21, so not being able to go out kind of sucked. And I lived like right on Mill Avenue, so it was kind of a bummer. But I loved it. I met so many cool people right away that helped me out. I ended up really becoming kind of a leader in a lot of different senses at the school. I ended up being the station manager for Blaze Radio by my third semester. I was the production director my second,
Wow.
which is like they have like a board of directors for Blaze Radio. They're paid ASU student employees. So the fact that like I'd only been there basically 2 months in person and then was able to land that, I was surprised. But that was a lot of fun for me. I got to help so many people. I got to see so many awesome shows. I got to have my own awesome show that won a Golden Mike Award, the Spurge, for best sports talk show in the nation. That was really cool. And just met a lot of cool people. I mean, the classes were whatever. I feel like I had learned most of that stuff at Palomar College already. Like, I just feel like it's more in this industry about experience and doing things. So I was just glad that I was able to start doing stuff right away. And then getting hired at Sports 360 AZ while I was still in school was a blessing and a really part-time role. And being able to stay there now is just, it's been great. I'm really lucky.
You were a senior, right? When you got enrolled into there? Or when you got a job at Sports 360 AZ?
So my second semester, so I guess I'd be a senior or a junior. I don't really know. Being a December graduate and a transfer, it's just like I don't even know like what the years. Like, I'm just there and I get it done. But my second semester, it was an unpaid intern at Sports 360 AZ, and then around November 2020, so during the internship, he had some changes. He had a guy that wanted to do a little less work, and he's like, "Hey, I know you've produced before because I used to work for 97.3 The Fan in San Diego for the Padres radio broadcasts." He's like, "You want to be a producer and like kind of join our team as an employee?" I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to." And so since November 2020, I've been working with the Sports 360 AZ. So it was cool to have kind of like my big boy job while I was in school, even though I was still in college and it was really part-time. It's grown over time. And now that like I'm not in school, I'm trying to figure out exactly what I'm doing there. I think I have an idea, but we'll see kind of how my new free time does. So yeah.
And that leads me to my next question. So like, what's your ultimate dream job surrounding journalism? I know you're working for Sports 360 AZ. You've done radio, broadcast. What's your ultimate, like, what do you want to do?
Yeah, I don't want to necessarily be like anybody, but what Tom Rinaldi does, I think is the coolest thing ever, right? Whether it's NFL Network or Fox or CBS, whoever it ends up being at, just being able to tell really cool stories, and then also be like a guy that's at the big events and can be there, you know, whether it's a sideline reporter or an analyst or whatever. It's just kind of a side gig where telling a story, but from a different perspective, I think. That's really what I would like to do. And then honestly, it wouldn't be a full-time thing. I always thought, all right, I want to get to the national level and just like be there forever. But honestly, I would love to get there. And then eventually, if I have a family and get a little bit older and want more time, I'd like to be in a position where I can start my own company, kind of like Sports 360 AZ, where it's kind of a small thing and it's just about telling community stories and have a team around me so that I'm not always consumed by work. That's kind of the goal. I know it's kind
basically like the basics of telling the story off and on the field from the athlete's perspective, but having your own business.
Yeah, just because I think for me it would allow me to not have a boss, which nothing wrong with having a boss, but I think eventually I'd like to be in a position where it's like, you know, I need to go do this thing with my family, or I need to go do this thing for myself. And I don't want to be like, I don't have any PTO, I guess I can't. Like, I want to be able to do that kind of stuff. So everything I'm doing is to set that up eventually. I'm still enjoying life now, but I want to do everything I can to create the connections, create the financial freedom, create all that stuff so that opportunity can present itself. And I'll feel like I'm pretty fulfilled at that point.
When you start that company, I'll be the first one to sign up for your applicants. So, you know, I'll be the first one for you to interview. I'll be there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It'd be awesome.
Thank you so much for this interview. I appreciate it. Jordan Spurgeon, thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Carlos.